Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it's Duckville here for the After Hours Gaming League Season 3. We're going to be seeing some fantastic games. This is going to be, week 1 here is going to be between two of the big names in the social media sphere. Of course, as we can see, our blue Protoss in the top right-hand side of Daybreak is going to be Team Twitter's Caesar. My favorite salad, always the best type of salad, a Caesar salad. And his opponent, well, you know why? Because it's got bacon in it, let's put it that way. His opponent down in the bottom left-hand side as our red Zerg player is going to be playing for Team Zynga. It is Shamwow. Alright, so Daybreak's our map. Of course, we will be seeing very standard sort of play at the start as it seems from Caesar. Not going to be going for anything too crazy. Of course, this is like a Pro League style, like Pro League Caesar round 1 style, where it's not a winners format where the winner of the match will continue on into the next game. Once you've had your game and you win or lose, then you're off the stage. So whoever whoever takes game number 1 will be in a very good stead here for their team. It is a best of 5, and we'll see how these players go. So it should be very interesting, of course, considering we are in Heart of the Swarm. So interesting things like the Swarm hosts, things like the Oracles. Maybe some of those fun things will come out of either of these players. It looks like Caesar a little bit unhappy about something here. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I was trying to change his status setting, but of course, yeah, anyway, looks like okay, so he actually cancelled some of his probes, which is a little bit unfortunate for him. We'll go for a Forge Fast Expand down at the natural. Of course, as you can see, his opponent just going for a spawning pool first, just to keep an eye on everything and make sure everything is safe. That probe having a dancing contest inside that mineral line. Yeah, so, you know, Heart of the Swarm, things have changed a little bit for PvZ, and I think are continuing to change. Like, there's still a lot of things that are being tested out. Of course, if you watch White Ra's stream, you'll see sometimes that Sky Toss, just almost a pure Sky Toss, is quite a possible style, and quite a viable style, if you've got the control and the tactical acuity to pick up on what you need to do. Looks like with the spawning pool going up first, Caesar just a little bit worried about possible Ling attacks coming by. He's going to go for the cannon before the Nexus, as the Overlord spots what's going on for Shamwow. He's probably going to have a quick look inside the main as well, just to see what gases are going up. In fact, no, he's just, well, the waypoints signal that he's going to just stick around at the natural there. Of course, a couple of Lings have come out, as we can see. Looks like they are going to just do the standard sort of rounds around the map, just checking out for any sorts of pylons or proxy shenanigans that may be going on. Of course, when you can see this kind of thing coming along, you know that it's extremely unlikely that the Protoss is going to be, you know, throwing down a proxy 2-gate somewhere, unless they somehow have magical minerals that appear out of nowhere. For Shamwow, of course, he's gotten his natural hatchery down. He's going for a very quick third as well, just plonking that straight down. Of course, with the safety of having his spawning pool already up, means he can go for something like that. And as we can see, he's going to just continue to drone up behind all of this. So it looks like, wow, one Zergling has actually gotten to the back, and we'll do a little bit of harassment on these probes here. Shamwow going to be pretty happy about that. He can, of course, keep that little fella just down the back, and we'll be able to keep up the harassment. Meanwhile, for Caesar, just going to chuck down his cybernetic score. Of course, a little bit of a different style of wall here. Sometimes it's sort of dependent on the player. Like, some players tend to sort of, sort of set up a defense that's a little bit further out. Like, sometimes you'll have players who will sort of go for something a little bit more this way, where they've sort of got their buildings a little bit further out. Of course, it can really depend on how you particularly like to play your Protoss openings. As we can see, that Ling, I don't think he's going to get any kills. In fact, he may grab one. Does he get any kills here? It looks like the probe was trying to run to the safety of the cannon, but in fact the cannon was not able to help. And now a Zealot is just coming along to get rid of this little guy, because he's had enough fun. He's gotten 1 probe kill, as we can see. Well, a total of 2 now, given that the scouting probe was also killed off. But now Caesar, pretty safe now. He's got both the gas inside his main. Meanwhile, for Shamwow, of course, he's continued just to drone extremely heavily, up to 28. About 4 more drones, 6 more in fact, are on the way as well. So he's happy to be droning up right about now. As we can see with the third base here, he's obviously going to need to get the queens out, and possibly some sort of, maybe a spine or so, just to make sure that everything is protected. Another thing you've got to be worried about is this Stargate play. As we mentioned a little bit earlier on, Protoss players are very very much loving to experiment with the Stargates these days, given that there is that viability of them. Interested to see, there's no mothership core out from Caesar just as of yet. I'm a little bit confused as to why he hasn't gotten one out. Of course, the mothership core providing you with the ability to perhaps clean up these watchtowers. You don't want these lings just sitting around idly collecting information through the middle of the map. Of course, the watchtowers providing a great sum of information through this middle section. He's going to be able to see that this zealot is going to be approaching the top side of the map. And of course, you know, the mothership core also useful for defense, throwing down that photon overcharge, a very powerful way to deflect any early rushes. But I suppose given that does he actually know that there is that quick third? No, he doesn't know that the quick third is there, but he may be assuming. And as we can see, he's going to control that Zynga watchtower himself. Caesar just running through straight up and just saying, alright, this is my turn to hold this tower. And for our Zerg player, he's gone up to 4 gases in total. We've got a Spore Crawler in each of the mineral lines just to make sure there is some protection against that air threat that may be coming along. So he has, I believe he has actually seen, let's just have a quick look. Yeah, he has seen that the Stargate is there. Also saw that there was a Void Ray in production. So it looks like we may actually have a Void Ray +1 based attack coming along from Caesar. We'll have a quick look very soon to see what's going on. He does have a Robo behind this as well. So he may just be going for just a 1 or 2 Void Rays, maybe just to see if he can get some damage going. There is a second one as well, so he is going to Chrono Boost that out. Looks like he is going to float them across and see if he can get... Yeah, he's going to come straight across to the third base to see if he can get any damage done here. Of course, no additional units have gone across to that side of the map just yet for our Protoss player Caesar there. I'm a little bit surprised that he's not looking to get some very heavy damage done, but here we go. The Void Ray, of course, a slight change in Heart of the Swarm, has its prismatic alignment, meaning that it does a bonus 6 damage versus air units for 6 seconds. Has a little bit of a cooldown there, 60 seconds, so it's not as if they are able to just completely dominate a battlefield, but you can throw them out there and they do really well against roaches. Of course, late game, you want to try and use them against Ultralists and that sort of thing. Meanwhile, for Shamwow, he's got his very standard sort of looking play here from him. As we can see, the production tab going off the charts here for Shamwow. We've got pathogen glands on the way. Our 4th macro hatchery is just coming up as well. He's got a couple more queens also about to come out, along with a whole lot of lings and burrow about halfway done. So he's going to just traverse the map with all of these lings, seeing if he can pick off any stray Protoss units. But as we can see for the moment with our fantastic observer vision, there isn't really too much going on for our Protoss player. Looks like he's just going to have a quick look at the front door. Of course, seeing that this is this little space here is actually a double width, so that's actually 2 lings at a time can get through that hole there. So he's going to be very careful and making sure that he is blocking that up properly. Back at home for Caesar, he's got the robotics bay on the way, so it looks as if he is going to tech up quite hard and has had no attempt to come across to the third base. So I think we may be seeing a 2-base play here out of Caesar. He's just going to say, you know what, I've got these powerful Protoss units, we're just going to go bam and go straight through. He's got 3 Void Rays out on the map at the moment, as we can see, just wandering around the map trying to maintain that map control. For Shamwow, well, he's got a decent amount of forces. It's not a huge amount though. We've got, of course, 3 Infestors out on the map. They do have their pathogen glands, and there are a lot of lings. 60 lings are out on the map, along with 63 drones, so he's looking very good on his economic footing right as of now. Has a couple of Spore Crawlers here at the natural to defend as well. A Spine is also available just in case there's anything on the ground, and it looks like he's going to take his 4th base as well. So Shamwow just continuing to put himself in a very nice position right now. His economy is starting to boom. As we can see, he is getting up to around about 1k minerals coming in. Looks like the Voids of Caesar are going to try and come in the back here into the main base. They will see that the hive is now morphing in as well. Just comes in and snipes the extractor there. A little bit of an interesting attack there. He's going to try and deny the gas coming in. But as we can see, it looks like Caesar is just preparing to go. He's got the Colossus here. Of course, 1 Colossus with 101. There are no range upgrades as of yet, but as we can see, that is just being researched right now and isn't too far away, so we can expect him to probably get ready for the attack very, very soon. And of course, with a couple of Colossus out, even just 2 Colossus, these Lings are going to have a very hard time actually running around and actually getting some damage done. Well, sort of interesting to see what's going on. We've got a Spire, and a little bit of gas is now building up for Shamwow as well. His Hive just getting morphed in right now, just about to pop up. There we go. So he's looking to get that tech rolling. Overseer just having a quick peek through the main base, just trying to find out what's going on. Drops down a Changeling and says, you know what? What's going on in here? He's going to roll his way through, running up the ramp, and in fact, okay, I have no idea what that Changeling's doing, but the push is now coming from Caesar. He's decided it's time to go. We're just going to roll along through this top section of the map. Lots of spine crawlers being built there, but unfortunately they had to be cancelled straight away. This third base is in jeopardy. I highly doubt there is anything that Shamwow is going to be able to do. Keep in mind, 8 Mutalisks are being built right now by Shamwow, 56 Lings as well, so he's going to have a lot of forces popping out. In fact, 4 of the Mutas just pop out and say hello to the Protoss units right there, so there's no way they're going to get anything done. And the third base, well, that's just cleaned up quick smart, and now Shamwow has more trouble ahead with his 4th base up the top side of the map, also in quite a lot of trouble. The Void Rays activating their prismatic alignment, going to power down that building quick smart. Meanwhile, all the Lings have hatched, and as we can see, we have now got a grand total of 111 Lings on the map. My favorite number. There you go. 111 Lings. He's going to try and get some damage done. I think he really needs to perhaps just sort of go to his opponent and maybe just try and power his way through here. There is 1 Colossus here in defense, but I mean, you know, maybe these guys, they've got, I think they've got, yeah, 2-2 on their upgrade, so it's not as if they're going to be dealing no damage at all. Of course, the Colossus just up to the side, having none of that, forcing the Lings back for the time being. But keep in mind, still no third base for our Protoss player, and a very cute tactic here. As you can see, or you may not be able to see, there is a Ling just burrowed in here as well, which is going to be able to stop any possible Nexus placement there. So Shamwow sitting, you know, he's lost the 3rd and the 4th, and there is an extremely powerful death ball here, but this is very much going to rely on those on the force fields to keep the units out, and it looks like Shamwow is still continuing to just rumble around the map, just doing his best to try and harass his opponent. That extra Colossus that was back in defense is now gone. The Forge in trouble, the Gateway in trouble, then the Cybernetics Core as well, of course, all those very important buildings right at the front, and some fantastic fungals are being thrown down here by Shamwow. He is actually locked down half of those forces, and the Corruptors are dealing with the Void Rays and the Colossus as well. Look at that, we're basically down to 1 Colossus here for Caesar. He is in quite a lot of trouble. His supply has dipped down to 88 supply right now. He certainly does have some very powerful units in the rest of this makeup here, but his natural base is also under threat. As we can see, 1 Colossus is here fighting with a whole bunch of Zealots. They're trying to keep these guys off the front door. The Zerglings just trying to power their way up. It looks like Shamwow is going to bust his way inside. The Colossus is going to be in a little bit of trouble. The main forces of Caesar have been forced back. 1 Colossus surviving that battle. Boy, does that guy have a tale to tell. And the Lings, for the most part, have been removed, but the problem is that now Caesar sitting on 1 base with virtually no more minerals left over. Maybe like maybe 500 or 600 minerals left in here. That's a couple of Colossus, if that. He is going to have quite a lot of trouble dealing with our Zerg player, who's now got his 3rd base up. He's sitting there on 61 drones, quite a nice amount given the situation of the game. We got 4 Infestors out, and quite a few Mutas are also out as well. A total of 7. Not a huge amount, not an amount that's going to win you a game, but certainly it's quite a few there. And look, there we go. We have one of the two Heart of the Swarm units that we've seen this game. The Swarm host down at the front door of Shamwow. They're helping out with his protection duty. Of course, the other unit being this Mothership Core here. She's got full energy, so you could certainly do something like a. You could possibly have a look at doing something like a recall-based attack where Caesar could push ahead with all of his forces, and if he gets in a little bit of trouble, then just head back home. But the Mutas have somehow snuck their way into this mineral line at the natural base here, and Caesar is going to start losing all of his workers here. There is no defense available. Of course, the Cybernetics Core was shot down and had to be rebuilt. It's at the top right-hand side of the base, but the Mutas are just going to town on all of these probes, and it looks like Shamwow is going to be in a very powerful position here. We do have the Triple Colossus and many Zealots here to try and do some sort of counter push, but the upgrade's only sitting at 101. He's going to have to compete with more Mutas here. Of course, that one, the one handy-dandy Swarm host in the ground, not to mention quite a lot of Lings with their 2-2. So Shamwow still looking to try and take control of this game, and effectively he does have it. He's doubled the supply of his opponent. Now, as we can see, Caesar trying to push in. Mutas now coming to the the rescue. A fungal thrown down as well, holding them in position, and a G comes out from Caesar. So game number 1 will go to Team Zynga with Shamwow just holding up after a very powerful push from Team Twitter's Caesar, but unfortunately was not able to hold out long enough, and of course with no third base, Caesar in a little bit of trouble. So we will go into game number 2 shortly and see who is going to be able to win the next one.